Hear it. You've heard this. You've heard this. You know the song. I've never had a love like this before. I've never had a love like this before. The love that I'm giving myself, this is new for me. But I feel like I deserve it, and I know the journey that I've gotten to this point has been worth it. So I want to share a little bit of my story that's going to give you some inspiration to start your self-love journey if you haven't already, to keep you going, to let you know that you're not alone in this, that you have a community here, that I've been through it, you can get through it too, okay? So before I was a dancer, before I was a teaching artist, before I was a self-love coach, I was a gymnast. For 16 years, I flipped all over the place. I used to flip over the couches. I used to compete. I would practice 20 hours plus a week. I was a gymnast, like hardcore, all the way through college. And you know, when you're an athlete, you get that athlete mindset where you push through anything, even your own pain. Even when your intuition is telling you no, you push through it anyway. So when I was 16 years old, I qualified for a huge competition. It was the Region 5 national competition. And that's top seven people out of 100 plus. You have to place top 7 out of 100 plus people. And I was one of the 7 people who made it to that national competition. That's huge. You practice for this all year, right? And you get to the point where you actually make it and you qualify, huge. So I was so excited, and I felt like I deserved it. So I worked my butt off in the gym to continue getting better for this competition. Unfortunately for me, a week before the meet, I injured myself. Now, if you can imagine, you know what the parallel bars look like, the ones you swing on. I was swinging on the bars, and you're supposed to let go, flip, and then grab the bar. When you flip, your entire body is supposed to clear the bar except for your hands where you catch it. When I did this one turn, I flipped, and my foot came too close to the bar and it smacked the bar down. So I did a front flip, and my hips, my feet smacked the bar. That caused my femurs to go into my hips, and it was a big pinch from the femur bones into my hip sockets. And that was very painful for me. It was very painful. And I wasn't really able to walk after that. And this is literally a week before my competition. I wasn't able to walk, and I was having a hard time practicing. I went to the doctor and they told me, take time off. That's all they said, take some time off. They didn't really give me real things I needed to do to get better. So I took it into my own hands. Me and my mom decided we were gonna go to a holistic doctor, a holistic practitioner, to get some tools that I could use to become better and to heal myself to go to this competition. Because that athlete mindset, push through it no matter what your intuition is telling you, no matter what your body feels, push through it. So I did all the things. I got to a point where I was able to walk. And I still did practice, but it hurt every day. I was in pain every day. How many of you have been in pain but you push through it? Snap, clap, and a shake. If you've been in some pain and you're like, I gotta do it anyway. That's the black woman mindset, let alone being an athlete as well, you know, an all-around athlete on top of being a black woman, on top of having to always prove yourself. So I pushed through it anyway. I went to the competition in pain, barely able to walk, barely able to even feel my hip, barely able to even perform at my top level, but I went anyway. And let me tell you, when I was competing, it felt like my hips were not connected to my body. That's how painful it was. I didn't even know what was going on, and I'm only 16 years old. I decided to ignore it. I competed anyway, and I did come in first place. Like our team won, but that's beside the point, because I decided to ignore this injury, and that put it in my mind that I could continue to ignore it. I can continue to keep going on and not do anything about this, right? So 10 years passed, 10 whole years passed, and I still have this pain. And I remember getting into dance, and I went to get a MRI once I was done with gymnastics. And they told me during the MRI, you're gonna need surgery in both your hips. You have a condition called femur acetibular impingement, and you're gonna be out for 2 months. You're not gonna be able to walk, you're gonna be bedridden for 2 months because you need it in both hips. I was only 23 years old. I didn't wanna do surgery. I didn't wanna be out for 2 months. I wanted to dance. I literally had dance practice that night, and I still went. After they stuck 2 huge needles into my hips to tell me that I needed the surgery, I still went to dance. And I continued to ignore this pain all the way up until I started dancing more consistently and teaching more consistently. And it got to a point where I was trying to teach, and when I would walk, just walking, not even dancing, when I would walk, my hip would pop. It would be a popping pain, a popping sensation that I can physically hear. And that was so painful for me. I couldn't even dance. I couldn't even enjoy my dance without this pain. And so that's when I realized, like, man, there's something wrong. I need to do something about this. I don't want to get surgery. What else can I do? And then I remember when I was in gymnastics, I did this holistic approach, and it actually did help. I just didn't do the appropriate amount of time off. I kept practicing through it. So I decided now was the time, if not ever, I'm gonna go and get some help. I found an acupuncture therapist. I found a movement expert, and I worked with them consistently. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first started working with them, I was like, oh, I can just do it every once in a while, it'll be fine. I would do my hip self-care in the bed when I was watching The Office, and I'm like, oh, it's fine. And it was a rude awakening. I was like, yo, I did that hip self-care and it didn't work out because the next day I was still in pain. And I knew that it could work because I had done it the right way, where I was focused and committed. But when I was doing it in the bed watching The Office, I wasn't committed, and I felt the repercussions of that. So then I had to make a decision. I'm gonna commit to this. I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do my hip self-care every single morning. And if I miss it, I'm gonna get back on it the next day. If I miss it for 2 days, I'm gonna get back on it. And I made the commitment to myself that I'm gonna do this hip self-care. I'm gonna go to my acupuncture therapist, and I'm gonna continue this journey because I know I wanna be pain-free. I wanna be able to dance. It had gotten so bad, guys, before I started my hip self-care that I remember standing in the kitchen and cooking, and I realized I was standing on the outsides of my feet because I had a sharp pain going from my heel, through my calf, through my thigh, all the way up into my hips and my back, that I couldn't even stand straight up. I couldn't even walk. So when I made this commitment, I wanted to be able to stand without pain, that's it. I wanted to be able to walk without pain, that's it. So I committed to it, and I did it consistently. And I still do it consistently. And I remember having a breakthrough, standing in my kitchen in New York, making myself some tea, talking to my boyfriend, and I realized I was standing flat on my feet. Like, I haven't stood like this in years. And I had gotten so used to it, I didn't even know it wasn't normal. I had been standing like that for years, but I had that moment like, wow, I'm not having a sharp pain up my entire leg. This is what it's like to not have pain. This is what it's like to commit to my self-care and commit to my body. That's when I realized, like, I'm gonna continue to do this. I have to do this because I know I can get to a point where I don't have this pain. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. So I made that decision that day that I'm gonna continue on. I'm gonna continue doing it. And now, guys, I recently had a full day of no pain. And I have not felt that in over 10 years. I had a full day of no pain. Can you imagine feeling that all the time? And I know a lot of you probably have similar things where you felt this pain in your body and you're just so used to it that it's like part of your day. But can you imagine having that pain be gone? Commitment. I never knew I had a love like that. When I said self-love is not always sexy, it's not. It's discipline. It was hard to do this stuff by myself. It was hard to wake up and commit an hour to self-care by myself. It was hard to go and do the foam rolling I had to do and have all these memories from gymnastics and my trauma pop up into my mind. It wasn't easy, and it's still not easy. But I know it's worth it. And it's the same for you. Commit yourself. Pick something that you know you can make an adjustment on, that you know you can make a change on, that you know you've been going through for so long that you can make an adjustment and commit it to it. Commit to something. Pick it. Whether you have a hard time, you have confidence issues and you really want to learn how to work through that. Whether you have relationship issues and you want to learn how to get closer to people and connect to them. Commit to it. Work on it every single day. Work on it every single day. Shiva even told me this. Make sure, even if it's a small fan, you fan that fire every day. And that's what I've been doing. Every single day. Snap, clap, and a shake. I commit myself to that every day, and I want the same for you. So I share my story, I share my journey, because I want to inspire you to do the same. Pick something that you want to work on and commit to it. And you don't have to do it alone. We have a community right here. We have a community right here. And so with that being said, I thank you guys so much for listening. I thank you so much for coming and celebrating yourself, because you deserve it. You deserve this self-love celebration.